Normally I do my videos while I'm out running and I have time to think. But today I took the day off from work and I really had this moment of being able to start to wonder, what is the why? And so when the long days start happening, or you don't feel like getting out and walking or running or lifting or even maybe getting out of bed, of starting to identify, what is your why? Why have you decided this for your wellness? You've put on this goal and you've put out this piece, but being able to really start to identify, why does it mean a lot to you? So I thought I would do a video today on the reasons why I have this be my mission to move forward with my running. Running has not been one of my strengths, and I still don't consider it one of my strengths. I can get out the miles between running and walking, but being one of the fast people out there is just not one of my things. I probably will be one of the back of the pack type of people, maybe not. But when I start looking at these pieces here of when I start getting down or I start second guessing myself of the reasons why, I start to look at what brought me here. So as I go on this walk today and this journey today, I really want to bring it to you guys. And I want you to start to think about that when the days get hard and it just is difficult to make it to I'm working on my wellness because I want to, or because I did want to, starting to identify that why. Being able to keep the momentum going is very difficult at times. Being able to juggle between the stressors of work, family, motivation, right? I know I've put in some videos before that really we need to look at motivation as a feeling, that if we treat it as a feeling, that we got to look at the facts around the reasons why, because motivation is going to come and go. Discipline for working towards the reasons of the why is what's going to keep us going. And so as we start to look at these pieces here of really being able to start to identify, for me, wellness has changed since I got into my 40s. I'm a mom now. I also realize how much aging is taking a toll on my body and how much I still want to have strength for when I'm in my 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s. And so being able to start to identify those pieces of it and being able to start to see what is these steps of my reasons why. Because looking at it just today, I could easily be like, nope, I just don't want to. I am looking at the short-term versus the long-term goals, looking at what is this reason for my wellness. And so as I start looking at these reasons for my wellness, and I think about my kid, and I think about myself, and I think about my family, being able to start to look at, what do I actually gain when I start putting the running shoes on? Being able to start to look at, what does this exactly mean for me to be well? So as you start to think about this wellness piece, it's easy to think about the things that we should think about. Not having as much fat on our bodies, being able to fit into those jeans or whatever that BS society throws at us, right? But really, what is it that you're gaining from lacing up the shoes, from going to the gym, from eating something healthier? What does that actually look like for you? And so as you are watching this video today, I want you to write it down and being able to start to kind of see or think about when you're out running of, why am I doing this? And not forcing the answer. Forcing the answer isn't going to help. It's going to just force it. And it's not going to help you understand the reasons why that you're doing this. If your anxiety is up, if your depression is going, if your PTSD, if your health and you're just wondering, how am I going to even handle the pain, or how am I going to combat this diabetes, congestive heart failure, whatever the case may be, of starting to look at what is the small steps moving forward to be able to help with your goal. And so if I was to start this over again, I would start a lot slower. I am a person who likes to take on big challenges. And so that is probably why my first race was a 10K instead of a 5K. Being able to realize, though, that running is really about the small steps. And so as we start to work towards our why, we are choosing wellness, of looking at those small steps and what is it that we need to do either to get back on track? What is it that we need to do to move forward with these goals? And so, it might be, hey, I get out and I walk for 5 minutes. I walk for 10 minutes. It might be, hey, I used to be able to run a 10-minute mile, but now I can only do 12. But be okay with that right now, because that's where you're at. And so really starting to look at these pieces here of, it's not going to happen overnight, but us getting in the unhealthy state that we were in or are in or partly in didn't happen overnight either. And so this wellness piece is really about the journey. And if you find that you're having difficulty with getting back on track, ask yourself why. And maybe phrase it as, what is some of my biggest barriers with getting back on track? And just let it sit there. Or if I actually start improving, what does that actually mean? And so being able to identify these pieces of us working towards our goals, and really that can be anything. Hey, I'm struggling with a relationship. I'm struggling with having patience with my kids. I'm struggling with finding the motivation to get out of bed in the morning, and being able to really start to look at what is some of these things that's holding us back that we need to address, but we do not need to have the answer or be there tomorrow. It is about a journey. And so being able to really focus in on your why. So as I said earlier, one of my biggest whys right now of my wellness is for myself and my kid. I want to be here as long as possible, that I have control over. I know that anything could happen and I could be gone tomorrow, but in that time frame, I want to have the ability to keep up with him. I want to have the ability to be able to move with him. I want to have that ability where I'm not getting worn out because he wants to run and I haven't ran for so long. And so that is part of my why I do these things. And the days that I struggle with that why, or I get down, or I get that piece, I step back and I look at, why did I get started? And what is the things holding me back? What is the things I'm telling myself? What's holding me back from moving to that next level? Maybe it is I need to give myself rest. Maybe I'm not resting enough, because resting is part of good training. Maybe I'm being too critical and forgetting to enjoy this. Maybe. And let's see if we can find the squirrel. No. Anyway, so being able to really kind of look at here of what is your why? And if you're having difficulties with moving forward, of finding out what it is that's keeping you from this, of asking yourself the question and then letting it go. It will come back to you. It will. Probably when you're calm, probably when you're relaxing. But being able to ask yourself, you don't need to have the answers right now to be able to move forward. So I encourage you to get out, work on your goals, whatever that goal looks like for you. And your journey for wellness can start today. It does not have to be huge. It does not need to be the biggest thing. It's what does wellness start to look like for you, and taking the steps to get there. Please like and subscribe if you like this, and look forward to seeing you guys in the future.